Well, hey, Freedom Church, and welcome to part 3 in our Undivided series. And I am so excited for what you're going to get to experience today. I wanted to take a moment and do 2 things and to allow you to experience these things. And the first thing is, I want you to hear from some of our 14 to 18-year-olds in our church, because what you're going to be is encouraged, and you're going to be inspired, and you're going to learn. And so I hope that you will be able to just put down any prejudgment that you have about anything in life and just hear from our next generation. Really, when it comes to our church, they're our current generation. And so we're so excited about that. In fact, Pastor Alex does a great job of leading our Freedom Youth every single week. They are learning more about Jesus. They are becoming ambassadors of Jesus, and they are representing Jesus in this issue of race, I think, better than anyone so far. And so that's why we want to have a conversation. And Kenya, I asked you to be here because what we've talked about is most of the time, white guys lead these kind of conversations. And I just wanted it to be a little different today. I wanted to get a different perspective. And so I've asked you to be here. And Pastor Alex, I've asked you to help us to just get a great group of students here who are going to be able to teach us, who are going to be able to give us different perspective, and going to be able to help us to learn more today. So I hope you're ready. Hope you're ready to learn. And I want to turn it over now to Pastor Alex to introduce what we're going to do today. And this discussion that we're going to have today, and get us started. Just get us started.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for being here. I'm so excited. Hey, real quick, let's let the church people know we have a motto at Freedom Youth. We are not a crowd. We are
family.
That's right.
Come on.
I'm so proud of you
fam?
guys. That's it. Let's go around. Let's do a name, what grade you're going into, what school you're going to, and what was your favorite quarantine snack. So I'll pass it off to you.
My name's Andrew. I'm a senior at Cane Bay, and my favorite quarantine snack was gummy bears.
Gummy bears. Let's go. Do you have a favorite color you like? Or
Blue, I guess.
I'm Teron. I'm a senior at Cane Bay, and my favorite quarantine snack was probably they're like zebra cake rolls. It's like a zebra cake Swiss roll. It's great.
Come on.
Pretty good. It's pretty good stuff.
I'm Izzy. I'm going in the 9th grade, and my favorite quarantine snack is probably, I like making smoothies.
Smoothies. That's good. That's good. I like that. It's healthy.
Morgan. I just graduated from Berkeley High School, and my favorite quarantine snack was bean burritos.
Bean burritos?
Bean burritos.
Nice.
My name is Peyton. I'm going into 9th grade. I'm going to Ashley Rich High School, and my favorite quarantine snack is chips and salsa.
Chips and salsa. Nice.
My name's Kalia. I'm going to 10th grade at Cane Bay High, and my favorite quarantine snack is popcorn.
Popcorn. Let's go. Your favorite kind, like kettle or?
White cheddar.
Kettle.
Kettle all the way. Absolutely. All the way. Well, cool. Hey guys, thanks again for doing this. So me and Kenny are just gonna ask you guys some questions, but before we get started, TikTok was a big thing. And do y'all have a favorite TikTok dance?
I would say the Renegade was pretty popular.
Renegade?
Yeah.
I think our goal needs to be to teach Pastor the Renegade. What do you think? No, we're going to do that. We're going to have a conversation here, because one thing that I love, Pastor Sean said, is that as students, you guys are not the church of tomorrow. You're the church of today. You truly are the church of today. But you, as a generation, see things differently. You have a different perspective, like Pastor Sean talked about in the first week of this series, is we got to change our perspective. And so I want us as a church to change our perspective and to hear from you guys. And so, Ken, you got a question, your first question that we can?
Yeah, I mean, let's just jump right into it. I think, have you ever experienced racism? Ever?
Well, me personally, I was probably about 7, 8 years old. I was at a birthday party, and it was with my friends. My sister over there was there. And I don't know what happened, but he was probably about 14 years old. He had to be in high school because he had acne. And something happened to one of his friends, and he took me into a corner, and he said, which one of you little N-words hit my friend?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I'll beat your A, and stuff like that. And me being 8, I didn't know how to handle it. You know, I really never experienced such blatant racism in my life. So it's kind of like, I'm sorry, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to go skate, you know? And it, like, now that I think about it, it's really bad. Like that would happen to an 8-year-old kid by somebody much older.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Like and what was the conversation that you had with your parents or friends or?
I told my parents, and I guess they miscommunicated it. They thought the kid was my age, and he was like, "Why didn't you fight him?" I was like, "Ma, he's much bigger than I don't care." But like now thinking about it, I don't think violence was the answer. I think it was more just it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
The fact that it happened was bad.
Absolutely.
Y'all said yes to that question as well. How have y'all experienced it?
So one of my old relationships, his parents did not like that he was dating a black girl. So they wouldn't want to meet me. They didn't want to talk to me at all. They just didn't like me because of the fact that I was black. And they basically like disowned him because he was dating me, a black girl.
Now, Kalia, we talked about that earlier, and we were talking a little bit about interracial marriage. And for those who may not know, Kenya's wife is white, children then are biracial. And but we talked about how, and what you just said spurred me on to this is, in y'all's generation, do y'all see that, like, that your generation has accepted interracial dating, interracial friendships, and all that? It's not really a problem. Y'all were talking about that amongst yourselves, you don't see it as a problem. But who's the problem? Who causes the problem when it comes to interracial dating with you guys?
Say it again. Say it louder.
If they do have a problem with it, it's rooted from the parents,
From the parents.
the people or the family that they're around. So
You don't care about it like your friends don't care about it in schools. Like you guys aren't talking about it at lunch tables. It's your parents that are talking about it.
The family and stuff. So how did that make you feel? Like that would be the one reason they wouldn't want to meet you?
Really upset. Like it hurt my feelings a lot because like they hadn't even met me yet. Like they don't know my personality at all.
Yeah. So they hadn't gotten a chance to know anything about you. All they knew was the color of your skin.
Right.
It's interesting. You were saying you experienced it too, more.
yeah, there has been instances being followed around the stores and things like that. But one specific one I can remember, more recent, I guess, was senior year. Typically, I don't ever have problems with teachers. Like my mom has never gotten a call from anyone, nothing like that. This particular teacher, she was very aggressive and, you know, just had a different way she came off towards the black students. And I remember this one time, like I came to the door, you know, I came in late because I had forgot something in the classroom. And she was making it as if I was being like aggressive, trying to push the door to make her move out of the way when I was literally just standing there. And my friend, he was like, in the inside the classroom, he was like, "What is she doing?" And he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And yeah, just, she like continued little things as that semester went on with her. And I remember this one time, like she made me so mad, I just not walked out the classroom, but I went in the back of the classroom and I was texting my mom. I was like, "Can you please just come pick me up?" Couldn't do it.
And so when you think about a lot of these things, guys, when you're thinking about, okay, you've been introduced to racism, and most of you have been introduced by not someone of your peers, but more so from people older.
Yeah.
So their parents or a teacher. What does that make you feel like? What do you think about when adults are doing this to you, more so than your peers?
I feel like adults are supposed to be role models, and they're supposed to teach, you know, this generation how we're supposed to live and how to make the world a better place to live. And I feel like if you're gonna teach the wrong thing, then you shouldn't have the ability to teach. Because
That was good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Well, anyone else?
Yeah, just like he said, I think that whenever I see adults acting like that, it kind of makes my heart hurt because, like he said, the adults are supposed to be the role models. They're supposed to be the ones to show us how to equally treat each other, because the Bible says we are equally and wonderfully made by God's hands. And when we see each other, like our peers, being treated differently by our teachers because of their skin color, it just hurts.
It's also another way to show that age doesn't matter when it comes to talking about it too, because even though they're older than us, you know, I guess we're expected to stay quiet if an older person is doing it to us or being prejudiced or racist, but still we have the right to call it out and to say something about it, because it's not something that you want to continue to happen.
Izzy, how would you say for you, like, did you grow up seeing it or learning about it? Like, where did you first learn about it, being like a white girl and just everything that's going on? Because your viewpoint is very different than Morgan's viewpoint.
Yeah, I will say that I did not grow up seeing it, and I think that's part of white privilege. Just I did not see it. I did not know it was still happening as much as I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
And that's white privilege, and I need to recognize that I have that and use it too.
Andrew, would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. I agree totally. Because the first time I probably learned about it was in school, and my parents didn't have to teach me anything about it. I didn't even know it was still a thing.
Where did you think you first like learned about it?
Probably just in a history class.
Really, like
Yeah.
history classes where you learned it?
Yeah.
Wow. What a difference between like having Teron, you as an 8-year-old experiencing it, but then someone like Andrew, history class. That's where and it's not history anymore.
Right.
Like it's still happening.
It's still
Yeah.
Present.
very real.
Yeah. So good.
I mean, I think about this like, because, like Pastor Sean said, that, my wife is white and my kids are half black, half white. And I think about what will they have to experience? And many of you said that you've learned a lot of racism from adults. I'm an adult now, and I have children that I'm going to now teach how to operate, how to move and navigate through this world, right? And so I remember when my wife and I, we courted, and to you guys that's dating, but in a different way. It's an old term, but we courted, and when I was introduced to my wife's parents, I was nervous. Naturally, right? Yeah. Naturally, even if they were not white, I would be the dad, like, oh gosh. I walked into the door and her dad said to her brother, Josh, get my gun.
Oh.
And it was a joke. I didn't think it was a joke.
Yeah.
Even though he said it was a joke, I still didn't think it was a joke. But I think about those things and I think about what will I do differently for my kids? Because even though it was a joke, it still had that tinge of realness.
Yeah. That actually kind of leads us into the next question is, what do you think the generation before you could have changed?
I think to get out the mentality that racism just ended after segregation, because it's embedded in our system, and it goes deeper than that. It's still continuing today, even if it's not blatant in your face. It's still there. It's still happening, and it's still affecting people. So.
Yeah, that's good. What could have we done better? I can speak as a 46-year-old man. What could we have done better that you wouldn't have to be fighting some of the battles that you're having to fight today? Like you said, gosh, I look to you guys to teach and to do some things. And I think we all would agree we've come so far. Yeah. But we got so much further to go. We have so much further to go. And so you don't get halfway to Disney World and go, man, look how far we've come. Why even go the rest of the way? No, you finish. You go to Disney World, right? So what could we have done, though, to take the ball down the field a little bit further for you guys? What could we have done?
Like Morgan said, I guess, kind of tagging along to what she said, it's like we could have brought it up more. I feel like now that things are happening, especially with the whole George Floyd situation, it's like, I feel like it was buried. Like after it happens, it's like, all right, that's old news. Get back to the way of life. A lot of times it's like they try to make it seem like it was just something that happened. When really it's not just that time that it ended up on the news. It's that time that it happened to your friend in the car. It's that time that it happened to your dad, It happens every day, not just when it's in the news. And I feel like we could bring it up more than it is. It's not just some news story, it's real life.
I mean, and I said in week 1 of this series, like you gotta find people to walk with rather than just standing on issues. We've got to walk with somebody. And I mean, just sitting here beside you and hearing you talk about as a 7-year-old, put yourself into, 7-year-old kid. I have a 7-year-old right now who also is half black, half white, adopted daughter of mine. And as a 7-year-old, hearing someone call you the N-word, and I saw the emotion even in you still, that like it welled up. And I'm sure that comes not just from remembering that experience, but from more experiences and seeing what's going on. And so oftentimes I think we don't study our history. And what is it? You know, those who don't study their history are just doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And we need to not just study our history, but we need to realize it's not history to you. Like, it's still every day waking up and having to deal with the fact that's there. So bringing it up. And how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like, I feel like history and innovation and invention, and it feels like if you study history, things happen really quickly. Like you see like industrialization of America, like it just happened like all of a sudden. Computer IT generation, like it just blew up. And I feel like over the last several months, for the first time in my 46 years of life, I feel like we're doing some substantive things that really matter and having some conversations that we've never had before. Now, I'm relying on your 14 to 18 years of life experience right now. So like, I get that, right? But do you feel that way? Like, do you feel like, do you sense something different? Are you hopeful?
I am.
Yeah.
You're hopeful, yeah.
Why are you hopeful?
Because like the uncomfortable conversations are happening now. Like
Yeah.
in the past, like nobody wanted to talk about anything. They just wanted life to go on, just like ignore it, push it on the back burner. But now that we're having those uncomfortable conversations, like things can finally progress and things can get better.
Yeah. So good.
And our generation isn't afraid to step, to be honest. Like, we're not afraid to call people out. We're not afraid to say what's wrong. And, you know, I feel like there's hope there. And yes, we're not there yet, but I know that we can get there.
Yeah.
With the way we're going right now.
What other things about this generation what could have the generation before done better, but what are you excited about your generation, Gen Z? And like you said, you're not afraid to call people out. I mean, that's so true. That's so true that this generation, like, you guys crave authenticity. Like, you crave it, and you're like, you'll call it out if you see it. What else about your generation are you excited about? Like, man, we get to change.
It seems like we stick together on this. It seems like we take this more seriously, especially since you said, like, we're not afraid to call it out.
Yeah.
I know that I have people around me who are not afraid to call it out. Like my buddy Andrew right here, I know if something's happening to me, I have somebody next to me, or even a whole group of people, like my youth group here at church, a whole group of people who are willing to stand up with me.
That's so good.
And it's really comforting to know that. And that's what gives me hope a lot of times.
That's so good.
Where we use social media, you know, if we go on rants or we're putting petitions out there, we're saying sign this, we're saying do this, and we need to talk about this, like with TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram. Like, we're not afraid to talk about it on there or bring it up on there so more people can see and know how we can not just bring awareness but actually bring change.
Yeah, and that's one thing that the generation before us couldn't do is we have the technology, we have the social media to where when we post something, we can reach thousands, even millions of people around the world. But like y'all's generation, my parents, my grandparents, they didn't have technology, so it was
so
harder
true.
for them to reach more groups of people. It was harder for them to reach out to their friends because they couldn't reach as many people to tell them and raise awareness about what we're trying to do today.
That's so true. Yeah, social media is such a huge part of this generation, and the way you guys can rally around one another, and the way you guys just are, like, you have each other's back. I love that relationship y'all have. It reminded me of Pastor Sermon a while ago. Was like, sometimes you just need friends to punch first, ask questions later.
Come on, right? Yeah.
How do you feel when you hear people say they don't see color?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good one.
I think it's important to still see someone's skin color because, you know, as far as racism goes, in order to change the issue, you have to not be oblivious to where it's rooted from.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Andrew, you had something really good about this.
I said it's important to see color because we need to identify and support each other's differences and where we come from in our background.
Yeah. I mean, I am an artist, so I love to see color, and it's like walking out and saying you don't see the sunset, or you don't see the flowers, or you don't see the sea, and like God created color, so in order to be a worshiper, you have to worship and see color. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that used to be a thing, you know, when I was in middle school and high school, they were like, oh, I'm colorblind, you know. And then, no, that's not the goal. the goal is to see it. That's so true.
So in there, I mean, I think about our generation. That was a lot of what our generation did. Is like, oh, I don't see you as a black man.
Yeah.
Like, it almost was like tacit racism because it was like, hey, no big deal that you're black, man.
Yeah.
No big deal. Like, it's no big deal. You're almost as good as me. Like, you know.
Wow.
And in that is true. And like, what I want to do is go, no, I see your blackness. I appreciate your blackness, and I know. I also know that means we're different because we were raised in different contexts and with different perspectives, and we're not the same. And it is, like Izzy said, such a kaleidoscope that allows us to worship a God who could make us so different, and yet I think genetically we are 99.08%, I believe is what I read, the same, exactly the same. And so it's like this unbelievable beauty that God can do so much with so little to make us so different and yet so much alike. And so that's something that I've learned. Like I would have said that. 10, 15 years ago, I would have said, oh yeah, I'm colorblind. I don't even see color. And which is a blatant lie because obviously when I met you and when you met me, you were like, he's white. And I was like, he's black. Like I did not think that. Right. And so I think that's important too, because I think our generation thinks that would be how we not be racist. Is to go, oh, I don't even see color. And so they think somehow they've gained something. But it's not racist for me to acknowledge your blackness, right?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And I think more so, we, as a society, we tend to not like what's different.
Yeah.
Oh, you wear things that way, you do things that way. And because you do it differently than me, then I have to find some way to find problems with that, create animosity in that. You know, you see that in high school. I remember high school, and that's probably what I applaud you guys. It's the hardest time of your life because you're trying to both fit in as well as become something or someone out of all of that. And so, and warring with all the differences in your circle of influence and all the people you see. You look at Peyton over here, you know, like she loves to work out and be athletic, and some of you may like to just play video games. But I don't like you any less because you play video games. I don't like you any less because you care for your body. So the same thing with you're black, I'm white, doesn't matter. We're both people, we're both God's children.
Yeah.
And I need to see the God in you and connect with that more so than your skin color.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
What's crazy, right, is you literally had nothing to do with the fact that you're black. Like zero. I had nothing to do with the fact that I'm white. Like I didn't get a choice in it. I didn't help create myself in any way. I just was born. And you know, and the only person we can point to that decided that Morgan was going to be black is God.
Yeah.
And so there's sort of some beauty in that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of amazing when you think about it.
So much information has come out of about racism and what it looks like. Have you seen anything in your life that you can call out that you didn't even realize you did?
One thing that I didn't even realize I did is I was like 9 or 10 when I was younger, and I would look at someone black and assume they don't want to be my friend because they want to have a circle of black friends. They want to be in a black friend group. And what I'm realizing now that like I don't need to assume that because I'm white they don't want to be my friend. Like I need to I'm learning that we're just people, we're his people.
So you as a white girl with a different perspective than Morgan, like what are you processing and how do you express what you're feeling right now?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm an artist, so I like to put my words into lyrics, into melody, and that's how I express how I'm feeling, the words I have to say about this. I actually wrote a song called We're Just People.
I want to hear it. You guys good with me?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Calling out to you, teach us to love like you do. God, this is our prayer, that wherever you are, you'll meet us here. Help us find our way towards love and away from hate. We're just people trying to find a way to belong. We use our pain, our broken hearts, 'cause together we're strong. We're just people, and with each other we stand. And today, this is our prayer. That love drives out our hate and fear. We're just people. God, help us see clearly now. Let's fix the curse of hate. Show love and be proud of who we are. 'Cause together we stand through hate, through injustice. We'll fight with you again. It's down the road of past mistakes. Help us find our way towards love and away from hate. We're just people trying to find a way to belong. We'll use our pain, our broken hearts, 'cause together we're strong. And we're just people, and with each other we stand. And today, this is our prayer. That love drives out all hate and fear. We're just people. With this faith, we'll stand together. With this faith, let us grow with each other. And one day, I believe that all will be free. All will be free. And with this faith, we'll stand together. And with this faith, let us grow with each other. And one day, I believe that all will be free. All will be free. We're your people, trying to find a way to belong. We use our pain, broken hearts, 'cause together we're strong. We're your people, with each other we stand. And today, this is our prayer. The love drives out all hate and fear. We're your people.
So good, guys. It just brings back to my memory that, I remember being included. I felt a part of something when my white friend invited me to his house. I felt like it was a great feeling. It was just like I kind of arrived in some way. I was a part of the team. I was part of a community. And you guys resemble any of that? Did you feel that way?
That's a great question, because like as a church and as a community, as a family, what would you want more from the church? What would you want from your Freedom family?
Even though you don't have the firsthand experience, even though you don't fully know what it's like, just like how I said in service a few weeks ago, you can still use your privilege for good to make change.